Heat damage versus hygral fatigue. Let's discuss. So we've already been told how bad heat is for our hair, or I should say excessive heat. We know that excessive heat will cause the cuticles to crack. The cuticles is our outermost layer of our hair. So we know that, and our hair will eventually get relaxed if you have curly hair and break off. So because of that, people have been told to stay away from heat and to air dry, but what they haven't told you is that air drying also causes damage to our hair, also known as hygral fatigue. Now, before you start saying like, oh my God, there's something new on this app every single day, I've been talking about air drying for years, literal years, okay? It was even in InStyle magazine when I talked about it. About like the differences and how you can tell what's the difference between heat damage and what's the difference between hygral fatigue or over moisturizing your hair, because in both cases your hair will weaken. So with heat damage, when you're using excessive heat on your hair, such as like your blow dryer, or you're using your flat iron on the highest setting to straighten your hair, you're essentially causing cracks to the cuticle, the outermost layer, right? You're causing your cuticle to crack so that your hair becomes high porosity, where water will rush in, but it can't lock up. The cuticles will not be able to smooth down because it has holes in it, so it can't lock that moisture into your hair. Whereas when you get hygral fatigue, or you're over moisturizing your hair, what's happening is your cuticle layer is still intact because that's not damaged, but you're weakening what's called the cell membrane complex. That is kind of like the proteins, the guts that keep the other layers of your hair intact. The other layers would be the cortex and the medulla. Not everyone has a medulla, but everyone has a cortex. These are the innermost layers of your hair, and the cell membrane complex keeps those intact. When you keep your hair wet, that breaks down. And when you're doing this and you're leaving your hair in that wet state, it causes, think of it as like how water can destroy the foundation of a house, right? Like eventually, if you leave something sitting in water, water breaks it down. It's the same thing with our hair, but our cuticles are not damaged, so you don't always see it. So if you start seeing like little stringy pieces of your hair, or you're noticing like parts of your hair are just dangling and you're just like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't use heat on my hair. I only air dry. That's your hair becoming weak and limp. That is excessive water damage to your hair. So you're probably like, okay, Scarlett, I got it. What can I do? So here's the thing, is that prevention is always the best, right? Like if you can prevent that from happening, because your hair will never go back to being 100% the way that it was, but you can always do protein treatments. They have so many different types of reparative repairing treatments that you can do to your hair now that's going to help to restore some of the health back to your hair. But, you know, kind of like when you get a cut and you get a scar, yes, it's going to be healed, but it's never going to be 100% the same. So basically what you want to find is that good middle ground for drying your hair. Stay away from excessive heat. You don't want to air dry, so use a diffuser on your blow dryer or sit under a hooded hair dryer, and then you'll find the least amount of damage to your hair.